Good day. This 165th day, meaningful moments, 365 days. So, the meaningful moment that has been coming to mind over the last few days. And, we have these ideas that come to us and then they kind of, germinate like seeds and then they flourish. But it was really something that was kind of sort of weighing a little heavy on my heart and had come about, through different probably processes and thinking too. So associating the two and how they work together. But it was about this idea of sharing and how we share with one another. We've all heard about sharing, and there's a lot of positive messages out there about, how we share and share kindness and share love and all these things. But these are fundamental qualities that we develop within ourselves. And the idea of sharing, and I'm sure you've all heard of that too, that means, you can do that with, ideally the epitome is to expect nothing in return. And yet, so many people are still in a state of consciousness that, doesn't allow that to happen. So the meaningful moment came for me when I was thinking about sharing abundantly or sharing the abundance. And it came through simple things like last week working on these little projects of harvesting some herbs and what the gifts were as my hands were in the soil and planting the plants and caring for them and watering them and every day giving my attention to them. And there's this unique thing that it looks like I'm doing some kind of labor, but I'm not, because it gives me back, it's this reciprocity that I give it my love and it gives back to me its love. And I have the result, which is I grind some different herbs for tea, in my mortar and pestle, or I cut some, different herbs for the food that I'm preparing, but then I'm sustained by its life energy. And in that process, I'm experiencing things like the sun energy working through me, working through that life, and that reciprocity that goes around once again. And so it's an exchange, a mutual exchange. And the sun, the air that I'm breathing in, the water that falls from the sky, it's all of it is nourishing all of us, even, reaching my hands into that energetic field of the earth and it giving my own energy field vitality. This is all part of that reciprocity and exchange, and it gives me this completeness of what it means to be sharing in abundance. There is nothing that Mother Earth and all those elements are expecting in return, and so often we neglect the environment on a very basic level. We've all been, obviously witness to things like, a disregard and a disrespect and even an assault on the earth by the way it's treated, by the way people devastate it and corrupt it and, even spoil it. And yet it still keeps giving to us. So I'm not standing here to tell you to be a blanket, or that I'm a blanket and I get walked all over on, that kind of thing, because that's what it would seem, that Mother Earth gives in this kind of way and still keeps on giving even with all of this, sometimes even attack. And it's just consciousness, though. It's not even always intended. And so when we're giving and exchanging, I've noticed this as I've created this organization and working with people. We have ideas and concepts like, yeah, I want to be part of, this movement and momentum of, sharing all this rich abundance and energy for healing. And yet when it comes down to it, and we're thinking about things and we compartmentalize and we say, wait a minute, but I can only do it in this way, because, then we start to put the me in my place, like, because, whatever the thing is, my time, my money, my resources, my business, all these kinds of things fall into place, and then all of a sudden, we think it has to do with, we're prioritizing or we're placing first priority, but the whole notion of a state of consciousness that me comes first, not I as in I in the wholeness I as in the individual I comes forward. And that is a limitation for all of us. So it's a stretch in consciousness in ourselves to go, what does it mean to be in the fullness of I am, the oneness, the wholeness, and how to do this in a way that's healthy, in a way that is true and authentic and sincere, and how does that maximize on the evolution of our consciousness. So these are, big thoughts. Abundance is infinite, so how can you wrap your mind around that? You can't. But drinking my green drink, powered by all that rich abundance that's out there in our world, sustaining me, knowing that I'm absolutely connected to it, and each day taking those steps that I understand or integrate all the places in my own being and all the dimensions of my being to be that abundance as Mother Earth, as the universe, as all of that that lives within me. So today, sharing the abundance. Aho, my friends.